Film club.
Again, not a direct quote. You can't quote people like that.
Thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Film Club. This is my good friend Andy. I'm also Andy. Every single week we look at the best films out there. I can't do this intro as good as him. But
he's taking advantage of me because I'm furious I've been misquoted on the internet.
So,
which, do you know what? Day to day, I get misquoted constantly. Anyway, thank you very much for joining this episode of Film Club. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, it's the misquoting Andy Knowlton.
That was actually much better. Well played.
Andy,
you got this down to a T. So
every
this
week in Film Club, we misquote people, and then we come back here and we talk about films. We're going to do, like we are sitting here right now, as one angry man, instead, 12 angry men.
Yes, well played. You stole that joke off me.
Give us the intro. What is 12 Angry Men all about?
Well played in the intro. 12 Angry Men is about a jury. So there's a guy in court and he's due to go on death row because of he stabbed his father. So it's about yeah. So it's about 12 people essentially coming to a decision. It starts off where 11 are convinced he's guilty, and one isn't. He said because there's a phrase to use. I should know it because being our girlfriend, we talking about that. There's no reasonable doubt. No reasonable doubt. Anyway, it turns around and the verdict becomes not guilty once they go into the evidence.
Spoilers.
Well, it's a review. So we decided to do this. We'll mention our thing without going further into details. My girlfriend just recently did jury service. She said, it's a good film like this. I said, well, why didn't we do 12 Angry Men? It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
She was very surprised. She's not allowed to talk into it and stuff. She was very surprised at how accurate it was. So
she watched this with you?
Oh,
I'm so glad. The whole way through I was thinking, I hope she watched it.
Yeah. It's honestly, she's seen it before, like when she did university, like she did film. But she watched it again, obviously, that was ages ago. And she watched it again, she loved it. I loved it. Amazing. And the first thing I noticed, we'll just go straight into it. Not only like how apparently accurate it is, I wouldn't know, but just how, like, that first scene, right, when they go through and they sat down, it's like pretty much 10-minute whole shot, single shot. So I've read further into it. There's the camera work in this film is like,
it's next level.
Oh my God,
stunningly
how
next level. So this is a marriage of I don't just want to say like a marriage of camera work, because it's also the blocking. Holy crap! How do you make 12 people standing or sitting in one room for an hour and a half? Okay, they leave the room like once, but how do you make that interesting and dynamic? And they don't just make it interesting and dynamic to like an acceptable level. They make it thoroughly engaging.
It's like when you have those shots where you have a person who's like obviously the one in authority of the conversation. You have the person like retorting against him, but they're small. It's like a really good scene when you're in Game of Thrones and you got Charles Dance, and what's his name? The kid Lannister. Joffrey.
Kid Lannister.
Yeah, and you got the things with the fire, and you can see perspective who's got power. I'll put the picture down here, you'll know what I mean. It's like one of the most referenced Game of Thrones in terms of power. And you have it in this, and you see the scenes where you've got the guy who's got the small argument there, and you've got the main gaffer,
stunning,
who I'll find out who it is again, and he's big, and it's that sense of empowerment, it's that sense of the conversation's going nowhere, you're digging yourself a hole,
because those sort of things, those ideas of like the language of cinema, the idea of like empowering characters and removing their power by using framing type and all that stuff, it frequently gets thrown out the window when it comes to doing things in like one shot or trying to do things in camera movements or trying to do things in like limited locations. A lot of that stuff kind of gets thrown out the window in favor of like trying to keep the audience engaged. Here they put that at the forefront.
It's amazing.
And they make it just constant throughout. It's a full hour and a half film. That's what their attention was on. I cannot fathom how long it took them to plan and to prepare this film.
Also, in regards to the actual shots and the editing and everything like that. So I was reading into it. This film overall it had 360 odd takes. So to imagine doing that, like this is like, so what it reminded me of is Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah, like very, very much
like
so.
A theatre kind of production where everyone's like knows their lines and stuff. Because sometimes you got like that 10-minute long shot, you got these other long shots, but then you got one of the most it's a brilliant scene. You got like the really angry one. Not the racist one, but the angry one.
The guy who's left at the end.
Yeah. And you got him, and he's arguing against the main gaffer. I'll get the name of the main gaffer in a sec.
Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda, thank you, that's it. And
Henry Fonda.
And then you got them like this, and he just cuts quicker and quicker. And as quick as it goes, the more dramatised it is, the more tense it gets. And to go from a slow pace into those kind of quick cuts and only have 364,
and
I think it's 364.
I think my favourite thing about how they help emphasise all of that stuff is through this almost a B narrative of the weather And
I know, right?
This like it starts off with this like it's a clear cast night.
Boiling.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's warm, but like it's pretty
Quite tranquil, isn't it?
It's cloudy outside, but like there's no expectation of rain. In fact, the guy who wants to get out there wants to go because he wants to go to a baseball game. And then it starts to rain as things get more tense, and then as things get really ramped up in tension, the rain starts to pour.
Yeah,
it starts to become this like huge.
So like a reflection. It's a bit like when we did Rashomon. That's like a
Absolutely. It starts with this big sort of like it becomes this way of paralleling and mirroring what's going on with the tension in the room, and then in addition, what you're talking about there, where they ramp up the temperature, and everybody it feels like what's the thing we did with Marlon Brando?
Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar Named Desire, where towards the end you can really feel the temperature in that room, where like everybody is just sweating.
I was going to quote a Simpsons song then.
What the hell is the Simpsons song you're going to quote?
There's an offset episode of Streetcar Named Desire.
I know what you mean.
Anyway, so that is, as Andy said, a marriage between the director, Sidney Lumet, or Lumet, I might mispronounce that, and the cinematographer, whose name I recognise, Boris Kaufman. Probably because I recognise that Charlie Kaufman. Would that be?
Yeah, I couldn't actually tell you what he's done if I'm honest.
What they managed to achieve in this is spectacular. So moving on from that, like it's hard to move on from that because it was like one of the best things about the film.
But it's also not them because holy crap, do those 12 angry men do their jobs?
How? Like, how do you even get 12 guys together and say like, you're gonna say all these lines there, and it's like the little unnecessary lines that they have in the background, or the little mini conversations. It's almost like they're playing extras or also playing the main characters. It's like, how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that? It comes down to theatre kind of style.
Every one of those 12 characters as well is completely well defined.
Oh, aye.
They all feel like unique, individual, fully fleshed out people.
I love how you can see their personalities reflecting like the kind of employment. It goes back to that stereotypical background, but whilst that can sometimes be cliched, in this it's used to really good effect. Like you've got the guy who's a working man and he's like sticking up for everyone. You've got the guy who's an analyst sort of thing and he's like looking at the logical facts. You've got the guy who's like a prison warden. He's a bit more gruff. He's a bit more like straight to the point like this. You've got the salesman who's not really asked. His mind's changing. So he just wants to appease the people.
You've got those little ways how like their own personal insecurities and imperfections are helping to colour their arguments.
Oh, aye.
My favourite example, I think, has to be when the guy reveals that actually he's quite ageist. He doesn't trust the memory of an old man.
Yep.
And rather than just like linger on the point and make it very obvious, you get, again, back to the camera work just for a second, you get a lovely moment where it frames him in the foreground with the old man who's actually part of the jury in the background. And he's not pulled into focus, he's left out of focus. But instead the moment hangs for a second, and I think it's the guy who offers everybody cough drops that moves the story
glasses
on.
guy.
Yeah, I think it is anyway.
There's another absolutely...
He doesn't have glasses.
Sensational scene, and like I was there, and this is the moment where I was like quiet, and I couldn't like breathe. It was that like intense. Was when the guy starts getting really racist and he starts like talking out like this, and one by one they all get up and turn away, and it's just like how much can you speak like how you feel without actually saying a word? It's again like just body language and movement and the way they portray themselves and the way he just kind of breaks down, and it's only him talking. I was there like this. I was like,
there's a good chance that the moment where he stood up and they've all moved their positions, and it's on that wide shot of the entire room, there's a good chance you guys who are watching this saw that as the thumbnail, because I saw that and went, holy crap. Like that image just, summarizes the entire film.
Yeah, and he's just sat down there at the end like this, and then like, I just...
Because it's one by one, all they're doing is they're holding mirrors up to each other. And that's kind of what Henry Fonda does. He never pushes his own agenda onto people. Instead, he just asks them the question. He asks them to just think about it for a second.
There's another great thing about this film. You don't actually know the names. You know them by personality. You know them by face. You know them by their ethics, sort of thing.
Yeah. Because there's that excellent moment at the end.
I know.
When they're leaving, and the old man runs up to Henry Fonda and he goes, "Oh, what's your name, by the way?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, my name's blah blah." And he goes, "Oh, my name's blah blah. I guess I'll see you around then."
Yeah.
Because you realise it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
You've already met them.
Because I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, like, as you go through, I was thinking, oh, you know, these guys, like, really get along here. Like, they're coming together, form, like, some sort of union. Like, do you reckon they could do this outside? And you think, well, actually, once they're finished, they'll kind of, like, split. They'll go their own ways.
Yeah.
And, like, what better scene than that there?
The whole thing was absolutely excellent. And, you know, you messaged me saying, like, I know we're only a couple of weeks into this, like this year's worth of film club episodes.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance this ends up on your top 50.
Top 50, sorry. This is I think this will be. It's like when we did Elephant Man and that was my top. This is easily one of the best films I've seen.
This is one of the best films I think we've done in Film Club, maybe.
I agree.
Utterly loved it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is 12 Angry Men. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of 12 Angry Men, or you can hit us up on Twitter, as always. But Andy and I are going to be back once again next week, where we take a look at Rear View Window.
Where this angry man gets less angry.
Till then, get watching.